Hi, I'm Sam Sorbo for the Accidental Homeschooler, and I want to share with you this little piece of wisdom. I may have put this in another video. I've been sort of harping on this for a little while, but I heard it the other day from Lee Bortons, who is the founder of Classical Conversations. And Classical Conversations is the homeschooling that I pursue with my kids. I found it to be very beneficial. And she was being interviewed at my church in California. Rob McCoy had her on to talk about home education and try to sort of inspire the parents a little bit, kind of like what I do with these videos a little bit. They had an hour-long conversation about that. I've actually been on with Rob talking about it as well. It's a very difficult thing that parents are doing right now in rethinking the education paradigm. And while they were chatting, Lee said something that I've been saying for a little while now, but I was so excited to hear her say it. I know you're going to think I'm a terrible geek. Math is a foreign language. That's all it is. In fact, I will go one step further and say that everything is a foreign language. And the reason is this. In Classical Conversations and in the classical model of education, the idea is that you start with the grammar. The grammar is the building blocks of the subject matter. So in math, the grammar are numerals, numbers, right? The equal sign, the plus sign, the minus sign, the division sign, and so on. Once you have the grammar, then you go into the dialectic and you learn how those things work together. And so you start working them together and you ask questions and you learn how to manipulate them so that they work. So when you're learning a foreign language, you learn the little building blocks. If the foreign language, for instance, is Russian, one of the first things you have to do is learn a whole new alphabet. So how do you learn a new alphabet? You read it and you learn what it sounds like, and then you learn how the letters work together to make the words, and then you learn the words, and the words are grammar, and then you learn the function that the words serve in the sentences. This is a verb, this one's the plural of a noun, that kind of a thing. And then the dialectic comes in when you start putting the words in sentences. Putting the letters in the words, putting the words in sentences, putting the sentences in paragraphs, expressing ideas. It's the same in math. You put the numbers in a number sentence. Remember, we used to call them number sentences? And you express an idea. 2 plus 2 is 4. Or 4 divided by 2 is 2. And as you work through that, so that's the dialectic, then you get to the rhetorical phase, or the rhetoric. And the rhetoric is the ability to express and speak the foreign language. You are so good that maybe you can even teach it. So the rhetorical phase is sort of high school in a sense, in the classical tradition, in the classical educational tradition, and so for a language, it would be that you have a certain degree of fluency. In math, it's the same thing. It's that you have a certain degree of fluency. So why is this important? It's important because people who say, oh, I'm a language person, I just don't understand math, they're parroting something that they've been taught. And I think they've been taught this by our public schools. And I think it's by design. Unfortunately, I'm concerned that it developed from a notion that was antithetical to freedom. Why would you teach somebody to limit themselves in their acquisition of knowledge? I grew up thinking, I'm a math person. I love math, so I'm not humanities. I'm not English. I can't write. I don't know what I'm doing. It's not interesting to me. Now, of course, I'm a writer, and I don't use my math very often except to help my kids, which is always fun. And it bugs them because I'm like, you need help with math? Yay, let's do some. I miss math. I like math because it's logic and it makes sense. But language is also logic. We use language to express truth. That's logic. And so I got excited when Lee said that because I've been saying that for a while. I'm sure she has also. And so I want to tell you folks today, you have to think about education differently perhaps than the way you were raised. And one of those new paradigms or a paradigm shift that you should really strongly consider is that every new, I don't like to use the word subject matter, but line of study is a new language. History is a language. You need to learn how to express ideas that are historical differently than you just express the idea of I'm going shopping. What did shopping mean in the 1700s? First of all, they didn't say I'm going shopping, so it is a different language. But secondly, it meant something different also. And yet it meant the same thing because they would return with groceries to eat. So when you start thinking about education in those terms and you understand that it brings everything down, it brings everything to sort of the same level. It's like water. It sort of levels everything out. Then anything that you want to learn, it's simply a matter of learning the grammar and then the dialectic and then the rhetoric. So you want to buy a house. What's the grammar of buying a house? Agent, escrow, showings, offer, mortgage, adjustable rate, right? That's all grammar. If you've never bought a house before, that's all new for you. Then you learn how they work together. Oh, you go to a bank for the adjustable rate mortgage, you put money in escrow and all of that. And then when you're ready, you're in the rhetorical phase and you're going to actually buy a house. Everything is like that. And it's not rocket science. It just breaks down to the little pieces, the grammar. You learn how they fit together, and then you learn the rest of it, and you become fluent. And you can do that with anything, including your child's education. Including that. What do I need to know about my child's education? Well, I'll tell you one thing. It's not the stuff that we learned in school. If you went to public school, I'm sorry, they get it wrong. Sure, you could, if you're a really good student, you could graduate and know a bunch of stuff. But how educated are you if you can't teach it? All right, that's all I'll say. Math is a foreign language. Remember that. Whenever you're up against something new and you're like, oh, I don't know, just know it's just a foreign language. You'll learn it. But everything is. So I'm not saying it's all Latin or it's all Greek to me, right? I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you can learn it just like you learned English, because when you were a baby, English was a foreign language. What do you think about that? Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you here next time.